Do this.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Wine Vault Radio with Jason Bryant from winevaulttv.com.
Yep, he is. He's the only guy that I know in the whole entire world who does wine reviews, mostly of New Zealand wines, but he looks at New Zealand wines as worldwide wines as well. But he does it on a website called winevaulttv.com and sends it off around the world, and people get to know New Zealand wines far more intimately than what they usually would. Does that sum up a little bit?
That's pretty
what's
good.
Going on?
Yeah, we really stick to Kiwi wine.
Yeah. You open up the odd. Well, me.
Yeah. The royal we.
You're talking about yourself in the fourth person.
Really just stick to Kiwi wine. We throw in the occasional kind of champagne and kind of like little misfit.
Yeah.
To keep it interesting, liven it up a bit.
That's what you are, disruptive.
Yeah.
You're disruptive.
Disruptive.
I've seen that word used a few times this week.
Yeah, so it's a very kind of trendy keyword in marketing and advertising right now.
Yeah.
I prefer renegade. A wine renegade. It's going pretty well. There was a blog post written by a Canadian guy in British Columbia, talking about the uptake of New Zealand wine and kind of, and it referenced me in that.
Great, that's good.
Yeah,
good exposure.
Good, yeah, it was good exposure, and also it was talking about kind of the uptake of New Zealand wine on wine merchant shelves and how it's increased. It was kind of 4-1 against Australia, or 1-4.
Yeah.
Against Australian wine, and now it's in many stores close to 1-1. So I mean that's a huge shift in people's perception about New Zealand wine.
Yeah.
That they actually want to sell it and put it on their shelves. I think it's a great thing, and so if I can influence that in any way, then I'm doing a pretty good job.
Interesting story I saw this morning about a Kiwi wine that is spelling out its whole carbon trail on the label.
Yeah.
That is Mobius.
Mobius, yeah.
Mobius Marlborough.
Yeah, I think it's part of Grove Mill, who've always been kind of carbon zero, and that they were really, really kind of like the pioneers of that whole carbon zero movement in New Zealand wine.
So they're showing the carbon emissions for a 125ml glass on the label.
Yeah. Do you know, I'm not sure that has any relevance to most people, to be quite honest.
But it's marketing, isn't it?
Do you know they're in the Herald, they're in this, they're on that.
Well, now we're talking about it.
Now we're talking about it. So, yeah, I mean, it's achieved what it set out to do.
Yeah.
And so good on them for that. But the reality is that if that wine shipped across to the UK, there's a big carbon footprint. Because you've got an aluminium screw cap, which is probably the worst closure environmentally. I think it's 24 or 25 times worse than a cork.
Is it?
Yeah, even though the cork gets shipped over from Portugal.
I suppose you're right. I mean, the electricity that goes into
to making aluminium,
yeah,
is huge.
Although in New Zealand, renewable electricity.
It is renewable, but it's still the emissions and everything that you got. That red sludge that was in Hungary recently. That's a byproduct of making aluminium.
Do we make bottles here, by the way?
We make bottles here as well. Yeah.
Do we make the caps?
Import them. We make caps.
Okay.
Some caps are made in France and Italy and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So it depends on where you're getting your caps from and where they're coming from, where you're getting your glass from, how whether it's virgin glass or whether it's recycled glass.
Most of ours is virgin glass, isn't it?
Right, a lot of it is.
Where does our recycled glass go?
Recycled aluminium goes to Australia.
Yeah.
So once you recycle a screw cap, it goes to Australia as well as a cork. Most people either tend to keep or it's a natural product, so it's not harmful to the environment.
Yeah.
And glass and plastic and stuff goes to China.
Yep.
Where I think it's about 80% isn't recycled.
What about the whole Peter Gordon? His mantra is talking about carbon neutral. He says it's not about the distance; it's about how the product is produced.
Yeah, I mean, like New Zealand wine has to be very, very careful because I mean we throw up helicopters to create or bring down the inversion level layer to protect against frost.
Yeah.
So an expense of like $1,500 an hour, and then sometimes there's a fleet of kind of apocalypse now nature flying over over Marlborough.
Yeah.
I mean, if some guy, American dude or Vietnam vet, went down there one day,
And
kind
you'd
of
freak out.
he would start freaking out, thinking they're coming out. The gooks, like this.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's immense. There are some windmills and everything that people put up. But so we have to be very careful about that, and all the sprays we put on to protect them. Then we kind of the way that we're machine harvesting them rather than hand picking, so you're creating more carbon emissions there. The wineries that where all these wines are going and the juice is going, there's a lot of mechanical interaction with the wine there, plus the glass, plus the screw cap, and then the shipping on top of that, whether it's local or international. I mean,
So what are you saying? It's an unsustainable industry.
80% have signed up to the sustainability program, so which is pretty good. And now there's a 40% of wines in the Air New Zealand Wine Awards, which have just been judged, are sustainable. So I mean that's pretty good. So we're getting there. I mean, it's still the industry is in its infancy, but I think we need to be careful about kind of how we try to market, and because if we get caught short with some of our marketing and our research hasn't been done correctly, and we're professing to be the kind of cleanest, greenest winery region in the world, we're going to look pretty stupid if it all comes back.
I'm just thinking about this Mobius thing. It is a little bit of greenwash going on when you think about it, because there's stuff on here that the average consumer, I mean, not even I'd have no idea. It says bottles sold in New Zealand will carry a figure of 140 grams of CO2, whereas bottles shipped to Australia will display 190 grams. But I've got no idea what the grams actually mean. I mean, who cares? I don't know.
Yeah, no, there needs to be a better unit of measurement so that people can understand it.
Yeah.
Because people can't understand 190 grams because
So what is it?
Yeah. So
again,
it is greenwashing.
Yeah, it is.
I would like to see like there's Mana down in Marlborough, which is Tafari Ra, Saracen, Huia from memory, and two others, and they're all about kind of like the biodynamic, organic, green aspect, truly green, like green from within, and not just on the outside. Nature of winemaking and grape growing. That's more what I'd like to see New Zealand and that direction New Zealand go in. Yeah.
Cool. What have you brought in today?
Can you see that? Is that?
I can see that. That's a St. Clair.
Yeah. Block
Something.
21.
Yep.
Bell Block Sauvignon Blanc, 2010.
Okay.
And it's their Pioneer range, and so you have the St. Clair, and then you have the Vicar's Choice, and then you have the Pioneer range, then you have their Reserve range, and so they've got 4 tiers.
I don't like the label.
You don't?
No, because it's made to look weathered and aged and everything, but it's just new. It's trying to pretend to be something else.
Do you know what, ironically, I don't mind it. The only thing that really troubles me is that the Block 21, they've got Block 1, 2, 3, and I'm not sure whether it's all the way up to 21, but they make a lot of Sauvignon.
I mean, it's got this fake sort of weathered look and stamps all over it where it's like it's travelled around or something, and but you can tell. I mean, it's kind of glossy and it's a new label that's been put on it. I don't understand that. Why try to look like something else? I mean, a nice old world label should look. I mean, if it's a new label, it should look like a new old world label.
Yep, I don't mind it, to be quite honest. And I'm a bit of a label freak.
Yeah. You didn't like last week's, the King Crawford?
No, not at all. As far as I don't mind that, it does try to look a bit old worldish and stuff like that, and that it suits me.
But it's kind of like, I remember as a kid at school, we tried to create an old letter look for a project or something, and you'd burn the edges and
burn the edges and put tea all over it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Coffee stain.
Yeah. But the wine is made by or overseen. Generally, the wine is made by a guy called Hamish, but Matt Thompson is kind of like the overall chief winemaker, and so he's well known down and in New Zealand winemaking circles, I should say. And this is Bell Block is a cooler part of the of Marlborough, and so it retains a lot more kind of acid and has a longer ripening period. So, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, as soon as I opened it, I could smell that.
Well, we've got Sam also on the smelling and tasting controls.
Hiding in the corner.
Yeah, one of the things I like, you get almost a green-red capsicum nose to it. And then you get a bit of sweet kind of melon prosciutto mixed with a bit of passion fruit.
Definitely an interesting, quite complex nose, really, isn't it? Yeah.
All I can get is passion fruit.
You sound stuffed up.
Maybe I am a little bit. Maybe it's hay
but hay
fever.
fevery, yeah.
Ooh.
Really sour.
See, I get it. For me, I get quite a bit of sweetness. That sometimes when you eat a fruit salad, you get that nice sweetness, and then you get that sour edge to it, depending on what fruit you've eaten. And that's what this wine's like to me. You eat a bowl of fruit salad, mixed fruit salad, and you're scoffing it down, and you bite on something that's really sweet, and then you kind of crunch on something else, and you get that kind of sour.
It's quite exciting in the mouth.
Yeah, it's quite lively, relative to a lot of other Sauvignon Blanc. Yeah, it's okay. I tried the Block 3 earlier this week, and that I thought was fantastic. This one kind of like, there's a lot of Sauvignon Blanc that for me that tastes like this. Good Sauvignon Blanc that tastes like this. I mean, there's a lot of very sweet, really poor kind of Sauvignon Blanc.
What price point does this come in at?
It's like $24. So it's up there. Like with Sauvignon. But one of the things I do like about St. Clair is they haven't dropped their prices. And so if they can ride out the recession, their price points are always going to be intact.
Yeah.
Which I've got to say I applaud that.
And what do you think, Sam?
I'm honestly not sure. It's nice, but I can't taste a lot, and that may be to do with the nose.
I think you've got hay fever. I mean, because
that was really helpful.
Yeah.
I think it's quite pungent, vibrant.
Anytime, it helps.
We'll make a wine snob of him yet. Maybe next year.
Tastes like wine.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of.
I'd like to see you do that,
stuff like
Jason, one day. Go to a proper like tasting thing, and then someone says, "What do you think?" Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
It's like wine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tastes like grapes. See, in stereo.
On that note,
88 points.
88 points.
Yeah,
The St. Clair Block.
21. Bell block. Yeah.
Thanks. We'll see you next time, Jason.
You sure will, mate. Cheers.
WineVaultTV.com. Here is